Hey there guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at the Survival Review, and today we are going to be talking about the third and final of our little trilogy of Stuart Gordon H.P. Lovecraft adaptation reviews, and that is going to be Dagon,
Yes.
2001. And this is a movie that nobody talks about.
No.
I have honestly, there's only been maybe one or two mentions I've ever heard of maybe another YouTuber offhandedly mentioning this movie. And I think this movie deserves more talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really like this one.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's one that a lot of people, I think, judge by its cover. And they see this weird fish dude.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I don't know, man. This looks like it's toward the end of Stuart Gordon's filmmaking days.
Yeah.
And it's probably not one of his best. But it's actually a pretty solid movie.
It's not one of his best, but...
It's not one of his best. I shouldn't say it's his best. But... it is good.
Oh yeah.
It's a very entertaining movie and a cool adaptation of some H.P. Lovecraft stories.
And it actually feels a bit more like Lovecraftian than From
Yes.
Beyond and Reanimator.
Yeah, because a lot of people when they hear Lovecraft, they think more of the Cthulhu kind of stuff and culty things, and you get a lot more of that in this.
That's exactly what this movie is, basically.
That's all of what it is.
Yeah.
It's a really well done movie of that, because I've seen a few movies try to do the whole Cthulhu thing, and a lot of the time it's just it doesn't work great in a movie. But in this movie, it's really, really good.
Oh yeah.
And so I guess we should get into the plot. The movie starts off with this guy Paul, who it actually starts off in a dream where he's scuba diving and he's going down to this weird symbol at the bottom of the ocean, and it's this big O, and he goes into it and there's a mermaid and she tries to eat him and he wakes up, and that's how the movie opens. But it's really this guy Paul who's on a boat with his girlfriend Barbara and these two other people who are probably going to die. And they're off the coast of Spain.
Yeah.
And they're on a vacation. They're talking about, oh, we're rich now. And
I feel like everything's changed all at once.
Of course it's changed. We're fucking rich.
They're happy and blah, blah, blah. And you just know it's not going to last.
No.
And it doesn't, because a storm comes in and knocks the boat into the side of a rock, which actually gets the other woman who's on the boat pinned up against it, and she's trapped under the water with her husband. So Paul and his girlfriend Barbara go to the shore to try and get help because they can't get this woman out of it. So they go to shore and they just like barely make it because the boat can't get all the way there and they have to row it there. And when they get there, there's like the town seems like it's empty. All they can hear is this weird singing that they even heard when they were on the boat. It's like this weird chanting, like almost like there's a cult in the town. Huh? And so they go searching around in the city, and it turns out to be not exactly what they expected.
No.
And things kind of spiral into madness from there.
What's great about this movie is just the eerie look and feel and atmosphere of this movie.
Yeah.
It has a very eerie vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I love the build-up. In fact, I actually like the first half and build-up more than the last half when actually things get revealed.
I would agree.
I even like the stuff with like them on the boat and they look out to the weird town over there. It has a very old school build-up to it.
Yeah, it feels like an older movie than it is.
Yeah. But the scenes of them on the boat like looking off to the creepy town, you can almost imagine that like in black and white being like an old Universal monster movie.
Yeah, it's got that sort of feel to it.
It's great.
The first half of waiting to see what's happening, what is this town up to, kind of the mystery of it and the build-up.
Because at one point after they get to the town, Barbara goes missing, and you're just following Paul as like he checks into this hotel, which is this really gross and grimy hotel.
Yeah, it's like absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
The bed is covered in just dirt and like garbage, and the bathroom is just nasty.
The water coming out of the sink, just this brown water just spraying out.
It was gross. It was even greenish. Like, it was just nasty, and he's like, oh, that smells. It's just this gross town. And,
the atmosphere build-up is so great.
Yeah, and so as he's like in this hotel, kind of looks out the window, and there's just this massive group of people, and they all look up at him, and they're like, "Gah!"
Yeah.
Like go burn the witch or something.
Basically, so he's just on the run for the whole like movie.
Yeah, the whole rest of the movie, he's completely on the run from everyone in this town. Until he meets a wonderful, lovable character, Ezekiel, and he's this old, drunk man who lives under a pier and basically is just this miserable old drunk in this town. But he's the only human left in this town. And that's what's weird about all the people in the town is they're all kind of, there's something fishy about them.
basically, yeah.
Nobody's ever said that one before, I'm sure.
But then Ezekiel kind of like reveals to him what happened in the past.
Basically, it goes into this whole flashback sequence where Ezekiel explains what happened to this town and that there was this drought. There were no fish coming into town. It's a fishing town, and they couldn't get fish. And so they were all praying. They were a very religious town because it's Spain. I mean, everyone's going to be religious. Their prayers weren't being answered. They were getting no fish. But then this man comes into town and says, I have a God who will bring fish to your town. And he starts praying to this Dagon god who all these fish start coming in. And not just fish, but gold starts washing to shore as well. And people start to think, oh man, we're going to switch to this new god. And so they turn the church into a Dagon worshipping church. And that's what happens to this town now.
People like sacrificing themselves to Dagon.
Yes.
And so that mixed together makes weird fish people, basically.
Yeah. And there aren't many movies that get the whole cult thing like right for me. Like a lot of movies try to do cool weird cults. You know, you get your Temple of Doom and that movie does it well, but this is one that gets it right and it really feels creepy and uncomfortable during the sacrifice scenes, and you're actually scared for your main character that he's going to get taken in by this cult and sacrificed. But there's a little more to it than that, actually, because as he's on the run, he's continually having these visions, even from the beginning of the movie, of this mermaid woman. You kind of know there's something between this woman and him. There's some weird connection, and he actually meets her in a very uncomfortable scene. She's like the only person as part of this cult that seems to want him to stay and doesn't want him killed. Yeah. And she's like, oh, come here. And there's sort of this like loving scene where like they start making out and you're like, oh, something's happening here. And then he lifts the sheets and she's Fish Lady and she has two massive tentacles and he's like, oh, no, thank you, and runs away. Oh, this is more than I bargained for.
And then she keeps wanting to like capture him to make her his husband, basically.
There's something hypnotic about her. Yeah. That's like drawing him in even though he's like, this is wrong and gross and weird.
You will forget your well and your friends. There will be no time, no end, not today, not yesterday.
And it's a really kind of eerie thing. I don't know. I love all that stuff.
Oh yeah. And also this movie has a lot of good makeup and like effects on like the fish people like throughout the movie. They just look weird and there's a lot of great subtle effects. Yeah. Like when the one guy turns his head and you see gills on his neck. Like, that's great. A lot of great makeup effects that look really well and look very convincing and creepy and just add kind of the weird vibe that this movie has.
Yeah. A lot of the creatures are pretty memorable. There's a scene where he goes into this house to hide, and the house is flooded, and you think it's just because, it's been like raining like crazy, but no, I think this house is meant to be flooded because there's a giant fish man living in it, and his son looks normal, and his son's like, Papa, come here! There's a man in our home! Giant weird frog fish squid man comes in and like starts trying to kill him and drown him in a toilet, which is another great scene. Just a lot of really great stuff like that.
Though there also is some dodgy CGI in the movie.
That's where the movie doesn't hold up as much as like the Reanimator and From Beyond, because there are some CGI moments here and there, and they're really not good.
No, that's where the low budget really shows.
Yeah.
The good thing though is that there are only some brief shots that happen every once in a while.
They're very brief and for the most part not like frustrating. Was too much of it would really bug me, but it doesn't bother me as much because they're so brief.
The camera never really lingers on it, so that's good.
There's some also really great practical effects too, though, like we mentioned with the makeup and everything, but there's another really great scene where somebody is getting their face peeled off, and it looks great. Yeah. For a movie with like a low budget like this, they really put a lot of effort into that, and it's one of the shining moments of the movie.
Easily. And like we said, this is a lower budget movie, and that does show in some regards, but I think it does kind of add to it and just make it feel a bit more run down, a bit more creepy.
Yeah, it adds to that like just gross, seedy vibe. Like a lot of Stuart Gordon's movies, it's all about atmosphere, and this movie is like oozing with atmosphere. I love it.
Reanimator and From Beyond kind of play more fun. This one is more serious. It still has like fun moments in it, like characters being funny.
No.
But it's a lot more serious, a lot more creepy compared to Reanimator and From Beyond.
Definitely.
The main character of Paul, at the beginning of the movie, starts off kind of like iffy.
At first for me too, he's like whiny. And he's like, I'm rich. And
Oh, what, now you have to smoke?
It's Howard's vote. He doesn't mind.
Well, it's Howard's vote. He doesn't mind. Well,
And like, this is gonna be our main character. All right, like the acting's serviceable, and you're like, okay. But as the movie progresses, he actually gets really interesting and really entertaining as a character.
He actually has a pretty good arc.
Yeah.
Like, there's this whole thing where he keeps bringing up, well, there are two possibilities here.
Yeah.
And we can do this.
There are two possibilities. I kill you,
I know Del. I know
or
Del.
I trust you.
And then throughout the movie, he starts to realize, God, I'm running out of options. And that's one of the best scenes in the movie for me, is where he's stuck. He's got nowhere to go, and he says,
I don't have a choice, do I?
and a tear runs down his cheek. I'm like, man, like,
Yeah.
he's come a long way from being like this character at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, I don't care about this guy. So he did a really great job at
Oh
it.
yeah, I like that guy a lot. And all the other acting is really solid too. Again, you mentioned Ezekiel, who's just really entertaining as the old drunk guy.
Yeah.
And like the Princess White character we said, really hypnotic and really good.
Yeah.
So a really memorable cast in this movie. A bunch of people we don't know from anywhere. Nobody like famous in the movie, but they all work really well.
A lot of the people, like the weird priest guy, they're all just
the
creepy.
weird priest.
Weird priest guy
Like
is
that.
super great. I love that guy. He's there right from the beginning of the movie, and right off the bat, he's just got this weird, like, something's up with him. Because at the beginning of the movie, you don't quite know what's going on, who's bad, who's good. But you know, just from the look of him, that he's like, oh, this guy's not right. I don't like him.
Exactly.
It's just, I'm not sure I want to leave you with this guy, because he gives me the creeps.
I help Señorita to find the police and the doctor.
So out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm going to give this movie a good 8 out of 10. It's one that really deserves more talk than it gets, and more people should give it a watch. Like, if From Beyond is in the shadow of Reanimator, this is like just thrown in the basement. Nobody even thinks about this movie, and I think they should.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Definitely a really solid, creepy horror movie, which is much different than Reanimator and From Beyond, but it's still a really good, creepy, weird movie.
Yeah.
And it's very Lovecraftian.
Definitely. Probably the most Lovecraftian of all of them.
Yeah.
Amazingly. And that's about all we've got to say about this movie
Dagon!
and the Stuart Gordon H.P. Lovecraft adaptions in
Yes.
general. Maybe someday we'll talk about Castle Freak.
Yeah, maybe at some point.
We'll see. We haven't seen it yet, so we don't know whether we have a lot to talk about or not.
But knowing Stuart Gordon and H.P. Lovecraft stuff, we probably will have stuff to say.
We probably will enjoy it. But that is not what we're going to be talking about next time.
No.
Next time is going to be the last Halloween video, which we're going to try to keep up our little tradition of doing John Carpenter related movies. And this is one that I was amazed that we hadn't talked about.
Yeah,
yet,
me
so
too.
I'm really excited to. And until then, we will see you guys next time.